I'm going to be just as real with you as I was in part 1 of this video. This is the part 2 of things I had to do before I got married. I actually didn't plan to create a part 2 of this video, but people really loved the part 1 and I was really surprised because that was a very raw, honest, vulnerable video that I normally wouldn't share, but I don't know why I decided to share, and then people loved part 1 so much, so I decided to do a part 2 because why not? Anyway, so in case you don't know, or in case you haven't seen part 1, this is basically me telling you guys all the things I had to do before I got married. Please, this is my story, this is my journey. If you don't like some of the things I say, remember that it is me. It is my story. Okay, so by the way, if you're here for the first time, hi, my name is Belema Ogulu and I create YouTube videos. But anyway, yeah, things I had to do before I got married. First thing I had to do was understand the institution of marriage. So before I got married, obviously I knew what marriage was in the sense of like two people love each other, then they come together and decide to spend forever with each other. I mean, it's not really rocket science. But beyond that, I wanted to really know like, okay, what is the point? I get that love is like the reason, but what is the point? Like why can't we just date forever and ever? Like why do we have to get documentation, and what is the essence of it? I saw reasons from a worldly point of view being that like if anything happens to your spouse, documentation and legal stuff is very easy and all that. But then I was like, okay, I mean I see the point when it comes to things like that. What if nothing ever happens to your spouse? What if you guys never separate and there's no need for like dragging of property and all that? So what is the point beyond that? So I had to go back to the source. So who created marriage, this whole institution, and what this whole thing is about? And it was Jesus Christ. So I had to go back to the Bible. And trust me, back then I was very, my rights as a woman should, as a woman. So that idea of like submission, submit what? I finished submitting when I was done with school. Submit now, in my big age. Submit to who? Like, why am I submitting? What's this submission about? But then in reading the Bible, I see that I'm choosing who I submit to. The Bible doesn't say men submit, women submit to men. It says wives submit to your husbands, not submit to just a random guy. And guess what? I get to choose who I want to submit to for the rest of my life. So it's on me to choose somebody that I can submit to. There are certain men that will never be able to get submission out of me. For my husband, I mean, I had guy everywhere else, but in my home, yeah. Yes, submit, and he makes it easy. That's the thing about choosing the person that is right for you. Choose somebody that will make submission easy, somebody that you trust. When you trust your person, submission is not a hard thing. Submit, Abi, take, here you go. Any other thing else? And then I was also of the notion that like marriage doesn't favor women. That was just my mindset. I just felt like marriage does not favor us in any way. So why should I put myself in that situation? Yes, I want to spend the rest of my life with somebody that I love, but then like why not date forever instead of getting married? So I had to go back to the Bible and read for myself. And I was reading to prove my point. That situation where you're like, okay, I'm doing research, but then you're trying to find research that supports what you wanted to support. Yeah, that was me. So I was reading for myself. Like I was like, okay, anyway, yes. So and something about the Bible is so, if you see the responsibilities of a husband to a wife in the Bible compared to a wife to a husband, please, I will be the wife all day, every day. Bro, it says in the Bible that men love your wives as Christ loves the church. The guy won't be superstar. So when I looked through the Bible and I looked at, okay, marriage does not favor me. In fact, it's good for me. To sum it all up, what I've learned is that marriage is basically promising to be of service to somebody for the rest of your life. That's just what I see it as. It's me having my husband's back so he doesn't have to watch his back, and it's him having my back so I don't have to watch mine. So we're looking out for each other in every way, mentally, physically, spiritually, all the alleys. And I'm not going to lie to you, from somebody that was very like, let me tell you guys, I was so terrible to the point where I was like, if I get married, my husband is not going to know how much money I make, and I don't want to know how much money he makes either. As long as he's taking care of the house and doing what he needs to do, I don't care. He can do whatever he wants. Bro, that was such a destructive way to think, because now that I'm married, finances is a core, like okay, so the next thing I had to do before I got married was understand that we're not equal, but that doesn't make me less than. I had to understand that we're not equal in the traditional sense of things. Each person, by reason of just our gender, brings different things to the table. When it comes to things that require a lot of physical strength, I will never be stronger than my husband. Like, I can't count how many men I know in my life now that I'm stronger than. At some point, my son is going to be stronger than me, and it's never going to. It's going to be in like a few years. It's just the way our bodies are built. We're not equal when it comes to how we handle things emotionally, mentally. I know that we don't like to hear this, but women, we lead from an emotional point of view, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it is a strength sometimes, because while men are more logical, we're able to see the emotional part of things. And when you blend logic and emotions together, just imagine it's like the sweetest cocktail you can ever taste. So compared to where I was coming from, which was we are equal, I was very defensive of my femininity, my womanhood, my right as a woman, you know, like I was very on edge. I understand it from a very different point of view now, and that's because I had to really, really go back and then even understand why I believe the things that I believe. Is it because of traumatic experiences? Is it because of things I've absorbed that are not even my reality? They're the reality of the other person, but they're not mine, but I've absorbed them as mine. Why? So I really had to understand that when you want to get married to a man as a woman, you are never going to be equal in the sense of equality. But that doesn't make you less than, and it doesn't make him less than. You both bring strengths and weaknesses to the table. And when you blend those, when you're able to lean into his strengths, lean into her strengths, and then perfect each other's weaknesses, it's such a beautiful, beautiful cocktail. And I have to credit my husband for creating a safe enough environment for me to feel like I can thrive here. I can let my guard down here. I don't have to feel like I have to be making the same amount of money he's making for me to feel like he will respect me. I'm respected regardless. I'm valued regardless. I'm safe regardless. And I really, really have to credit him for that, because he met me when I was still a little rough. When I still needed some work. But he was able to let me know that you can relax here. You're never going to be taken for granted because of one thing or the other. It just basically created a space where I knew and I felt very, very valued. And it was very easy for me to submit, for me to relax, for me to see and really understand that equality doesn't necessarily mean sameness. Yeah, so that's one thing I really also had to really, really understand, because coming from where I was coming from, man. Another thing I had to do before I got married was say no to being in relationships. Let me explain this. So like, in the most humble way possible, I've always been a fine girl. I've always had attention from men, boys. At every point in time in my life, there has been somebody that is talking to me, or somebody that has a friend that wants to toast me or something. There's always been something. Do you understand? And so because of that, I've never really had a time in my life where I'm craving a relationship. It has never happened. And I say this in the most humble way possible, but that has never been my reality. But before I got married, I had to really take a break from all that, like the constant attention, the constant validation that came from external places, not myself. I had to take a break from all that. So I was single for a little bit before I got married and before I started talking to my husband. And I would say that that was a very, very good decision that I made. And I'm very grateful that I did that, because it allowed me embrace the whole singleness journey and the whole value of being by yourself. I learned how to validate myself. I learned how to appreciate myself, even when I wasn't getting like external validation or appreciation or whatever. I learned to be with myself and love who that person was before I now got back into getting validation from another person, in this case being my husband. So yeah, that single season, I feel like if you want to get married, or if you're getting married, if you're getting married soon, you cannot experience single season again. But if you are single and you don't have anybody in your life right now, maybe embrace a period of time where you're not dating and you're loving on yourself. You're taking yourself out for dates. You're doing movie nights by yourself. You are getting yourself that expensive bottle of wine, getting yourself that expensive outfit. You know, just pampering yourself a little bit before another person comes to do it for you is very necessary. Like, you know how some people say it's necessary for women to live by themselves for a period of time before like moving from your daddy's house to your husband's house. It's kind of like that. You don't have to go as extreme as living by yourself. But I mean, if that's what you feel like doing, but just basically embrace a period of singleness. That really is life-changing. The next thing I had to do before I got married was know what I did not want. I know this sounds like, it's not know what you want, not know what you don't want. I identified everything that I did not want. And that way it was easier for me to spot very easily, okay, this person is moving with a lot of disrespect and narcissistic behaviors. I don't want that. But you know, when you want something, somebody can have the characteristics that you want. But if you don't know what you don't want, you're going to easily fall for the things that you want. ignoring the things you don't want. Start from what you don't want. Identifying what you don't want will save you from kissing too many frogs. And when I say identify what you don't want, I don't mean I want it to be light-skinned, oh, I want it to be 5'4". No, I mean, what characteristics do you want in a person? What kind of beliefs should they have? Are they a Christian if you're a Christian? Are they a Muslim if you're a Muslim? Are they equally yoked with you? These things are important. How do they treat people when they're upset? How do they treat your family and your friends? Is this somebody that yells at everybody and does not listen again once it's upset? These are things that you need to really, really look out for, because I want tall, dark, and handsome. Tall, dark, and handsome, go see hard weight. Tall, dark, and handsome, go still go broke one day. Tall, dark, and handsome, fit they punch you for house. Tall, dark, and handsome can be beating you like this. So you have to really know, okay, I don't want a man that is violent. I don't want a man that is disrespectful. I don't want a man that does not go to church. I don't want a man that does not pray. I don't want a man that will drag me from my friends. Things like that. You have to know what you don't want, because what you want, somebody can be everything you want, but also be every single thing you don't want. Do you understand what I mean? So knowing what you don't want is very important. And I have to credit a sermon I heard a while ago. I'll actually do a video about that sermon. It's called Is He the One? Now, the last thing I had to do before I got married was get very, very, very honest with myself. It was not easy. I'm not going to lie. It was not easy. I had to really get candid with myself. Let me tell you when you're going to know that you're actually doing a lot of self-reflective work. When you start talking about your flaws to yourself, when you start identifying your weaknesses and saying that, man, I actually overreact sometimes. Man, I don't really know how to handle conflict. Man, I always give off silent treatments when I'm upset. Being able to ask your friends, like, what's something about me that you think that I should work on? Or what's something about me that you think I should change? And hearing what they have to say and swallowing it and saying, you have a point. And then going back and actually doing the work to get better. It is not easy. I'm not going to lie to you. That was like one of the hardest hurdles for me to jump over, like before I got married. But I knew that I had to do it, because if I didn't, I was going to enter into marriage the same way I entered into other relationships and spoiled them. I just was not well behaved. I just was too problematic, or I just was too stuck in my ways or stubborn. That was my thing. I always used to think everybody else was at fault. If you watch the part 1 of this video, I was just in that headspace of I've experienced a lot of things. I'm always right. And there's nothing you want to tell me that is new. I just had that funny mindset, and I don't know why I had it, but I'm very happy that I did the work that was necessary. And let me tell you the truth, the work is continuous. I'm still doing it till today. Even though I'm married now, I'm still having to do the work constantly. I know that we're never going to achieve perfection, because only Jesus Christ is perfect, but I'm just saying this to say that you start the work before you get married, and then you continue as time goes on. Honestly, it's not always easy to take a hard look at yourself, but I learned that is very necessary if you want to be the best partner you can be for your spouse. I don't know if you've ever heard that illustration about how a plane cannot land if the runway is not clear. That's kind of the same thing with your dream person or your desired partner, right? If you have not cleared out certain things from your life, the person can't land in your life. Do you understand what I mean? We all have baggages that we carry. The plane can be carrying baggage too. Do you understand? But you also have to clear out some things from your runway so that the person can easily come into your life, and then people can sail away. Do you understand what I mean? When I say sail after flights, that's not even... But anyway, you understand what I mean? So yeah, these are all the things that I had to do in order to, let's say, prepare for marriage. It's not about waiting for the perfect partner, but about preparing myself for whoever it was that was going to come into my life. So if you're thinking about marriage and you're watching this video, take time to focus on yourself and get to know yourself first. So yeah, that's just my little bit of, let's say, advice. And so if this video resonated with you, you like this type of topic, then please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Let's see if we can get this video to 500 likes. I don't know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.